with a change in the leadership of state-owned oil company, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, comes the restructuring of the management and staff of the company that has seen some senior management and staff being retired or having their contracts terminated. A number of senior management staff, including the Chief of National Petroleum Investment Management Services, the Managing Director of the Kaduna Refinery, and the Chief Compliance Officer, as well as former Managing Director of NNPC Trading, may have been relieved of their positions. Insider sources confirmed to Arise News that though the number of staff impacted is not certain, the changes have nothing to do with their loyalty to the former group CEO, Mele Kyari, has been reported in some quarters. The new management had 3 days upon assumption of office, appointed an 8-member senior management team.
Right, let's bring in energy expert and co-founder and CEO of Dairy Hills, Kelvin Emmanuel. Good to have you on Newsnight tonight. And it's good that you're giggling. It means are you happy about the reports we're hearing? Reports coming from Warri Refinery, the Port Harcourt Refinery, that in spite of $897 million, not naira, dollars spent on, revamping, bringing it back to life, resuscitating, whatever adjectives you want to use.
Or is the restructuring at NNPCL?
That's,
I'm not surprised.
Really?
I'm not surprised. I mean,
for
months I have said that Warri, Port Harcourt, and Kaduna are never going to come back to operation. And what Nigerians were seeing on TV as commissioning was just a charade.
Wow.
Okay? On the 12th of August 2021, the former president approved, Federal Executive Council approved memos for, monies to be raised for the 3 refineries. For Port Harcourt, they approved FEC approved $1.48 billion. For Warri, they approved $897 million. For Kaduna, they approved $586 million. Total of $2.96 billion for turnaround maintenance. Money that can build a brand new 60,000 barrels refinery. Okay? The last of these 3 refineries was completed in 1989 by Shell. British Petroleum also started a chunk of it. So most of these refineries were actually built as very sizable modular refineries to produce LPFO and AGO to power the operations of the operators upstream. So they were not built to actually refine. So quite a number of them, Port Harcourt and Warri, does not have a catalytic reforming unit, right, that can convert naphtha. Naphtha is a base compound. The first stage of refining from crude oil is naphtha.
Right.
So the naphtha is what you now use a reforming unit to process into higher distillates like premium motor spirit. Warri and Port Harcourt, right? Warri is 125,000 barrels. Port Harcourt, if I'm not mistaken, is about 110,000 barrels.
Yeah.
They don't have a catalytic reforming unit.
So referring to them as refineries is an anomaly.
It's an anomaly because they were never in operation. What you had was they were badging C5 resins, and then they were blending it with naphtha condensates to produce petrol that has a very high level of sulfur and a very low level of octane, and doesn't meet up with any standard set up by the regulator contained in the Petroleum Industry Act in sections 317(11) of the PIA.
When you say that they did not produce, because I also remember your stance that these refineries were never going to ever come up again, but they did. Whether they shut down, whether they really came up is another kettle of fish. Port Harcourt, we are told, is evacuating at 40%
Lower
capacity.
than 40%.
No, it's about 37.9%.
Yeah.
About 40%
in 8
capacity.
months, NNPC has imported over 3 billion liters.
So there are those issues. But to say that they did not come up is another thing.
Okay,
and we do have the documents from the NMDPRA. I just wanted you to see them. I'll get there. I just want to put in the question. For Warri Refinery, before it went off in January of 2025, it evacuated in November, in December, in January, in February. It evacuated petrol and some other products. But the question really is, why do you think that the government decided to go this way? To tell Nigerians that, here you have it on your screens. That was Warri before it shut down in January 2025. And we also have the one for Port Harcourt. But do you think the public was misled as to the readiness of this refinery?
Adesua, the 46-kilometer pipeline, the trunk line, that was designed to feed crude oil feedstock from Escravos, right? To Warri, a terminal in Escravos to Warri, is out of service. So how are you carrying crude oil to the refinery? At least for Dangote in Lagos, we know it has a single point mooring opposite the refinery, where ships come, connect, and pipe crude oil into the storage. They also come and evacuate petroleum products that are refined. For Warri, where is the trunk line from Escravos that is supposed to take crude oil to the refinery? One question. Number two question, at the stack 61, area 61, where you have the flex stack, why are you not able, because when you refine, if you claim you're refining petrol, it is compulsory that you recover petroleum gases. There's no refinery anywhere in the world, and there are about over 800 refineries in the world, commercial and modular size refineries, right? There's no refinery anywhere in the world where you claim to refine petrol and you don't recover petroleum gases. Petroleum gases are recovered at about 25 degrees centigrade. They are a compulsory derivative of refining petrol. And the question I've always asked an NPC, why are you not able to recover LPG? And Nigerian crude, being a light grade crude density is higher than the heavy crudes, over 31.1 degrees centigrade, actually has more propane than butane.
You know,
why are you not able to recover LPG?
Emmanuel, you're going very technical. Yeah,
they've not.
Can we simplify this in a way that Nigerians can understand? That in spite of the fact that the Nigerian government, NNPCL, told Nigerians that the Warri refinery was up and running. Port Harcourt refinery, after spending $1.5 billion on that, was also, we're pumping out PMS. Yeah. But it's not reflecting in any way or form. When you go to the filling stations to buy petrol, it's still high and all of that. What does this really mean? So, are you saying that Nigerians have been deceived? So
you notice that in the Niger Delta and in the Southeast, petrol prices are typically higher than in the Southwest.
Like forever, yes.
And the basic reason is because the retail storage distribution companies that BPE designed about 12 to 13 years ago, and the evacuation pipes, Bureau of Public Enterprise, yes, and the evacuation pipes to take petrol out of refineries, right, are not functional. So one of the proof, for example, that refinery is not working and NNPC has relied on importing products and has misled Nigerians to believe that those refineries were operational, is that most of the petroleum product actually comes from either imports in Lagos or Dangote in Lagos. That's why you have difficulty aggregating the price, and you see Dangote applying a bridging allowance of nearly 65 naira per litre on every part of petrol that goes around Nigeria for the companies he has partnership with. Okay? Yeah. So, look, you have a situation where $2.96 billion was approved by FEC. $1 billion was scheduled in Project Bison, December 2021. It was borrowed, syndicated from Afro-Exim Bank. Another $450 million was borrowed through a crude oil swap, a for sale agreement, where a company that has a license to lift crude oil advanced the NNPC cash in exchange for giving it crude oil over a period of time as repayment with interest, right, to do rehabilitation and maintenance. But what do you have to show for it? Nothing. So if you claim that your refineries are operational, yeah, the operational capacity they claim to be working is supposed to be delivering anywhere between 6 and 9 million liters of PMS
and
a
it's
day.
Not doing so.
What makes
Let
me ask you, what makes Nigeria so uniquely bad?
Should we be talking about privatizing these refineries? Is that the solution to all of this?
If you check the balance sheet of NNPC, the refineries are a loss-making business.
Okay, so what makes us uniquely bad at operating state-owned refinery? Because we see other countries are able to do it. They're even expanding. Why are we so bad at it?
In 2003, I think, was it 2003 or 2004, I think, OBJ brought technical experts to do evaluation. They did an evaluation and came that these assets are dead, they're not going concerns, you have to sell it off. Okay? OBJ asked companies to bid for it. Dangote bidded, you know the story of Blue Star
Yes.
Consortium.
And it was reversed.
CMPC bidded. CMPC was going to build an export pipeline to truck tray pipe crude oil from Niger Republic to Kaduna, because the 674-kilometer pipeline from Escravos to Kaduna was not viable. Okay? And then that sale was reversed in 2007. Those refineries are a cesspit for corruption. They are not working. They've consumed 12 trillion naira over the last 20 years.
The long and short of this.
The long and short is that NNPC, it's in the interest of NNPC for the Nigerian government to swallow its pride and say, we're done with government-owned refineries. Let's allow the private sector. Let's supply them with crude oil under DCSO obligations in sections 109 of the PIA and regulate the private sector. That's the work of the government. The government has no business doing business.
We have a new board of NNPC, majorly from the private sector. Any hope in this new board of the NNPC to do things differently?
I think their pedigree is good, is encouraging, is positive. But the board has to not only focus on instituting strong corporate governance structures, the board has to focus on bringing competent people into middle and senior management positions.
Okay,
like,
we'll have to
like
leave it
we've
there.
seen with what happened today in NNPC.
Yeah, we've been wrapped up. Kelvin Emmanuel, thank you very much for joining us on Newsnight. There'll be more time to, discuss these issues. It's an ongoing matter.